What's up, dogs? TheOdie here. It is Tuesday, January 5th. Sorry, in the back of my head, I was like, there's something that was significant about January 5th. I don't remember what it was, because maybe it was a sweepstakes I entered. Anyways, we're now at this very, very sort of pretty kind of significant point in the vlog where, well, a lot of what I'm going to develop is secrets. I know, it's like, but we're just scratched the surface. How are we almost there at no spoiler zone? Because of how finite the amount of maps that there are. Like, revealing the map is what I would consider a spoiler too. And that's what makes it kind of bummy. Anyways, do you hear the background noise? My life in a nutshell. Can you imagine? Oh, the glory days. I remember when I would come home from work. Right now, it's 5:30, by the way. And then I'll be like, oh god, I gotta let's play something so I could post it tomorrow. And then got this background noise going on, so then I would be like, alright, gotta wait till 6:30. So, I've been working a little bit, except from Sunday to now, and it's not a whole lot. I don't know what to call it exactly. It's like where you give descriptions to just objects around the area. For lack of a better term, I kind of just call it peripherals. And I did bits and pieces of that, and of course I got lots more to do. Like with the barrels, I might do something for the bear just because it's adorable. And of course the painting back there. I like to put peripherals, as I call them, in my games, just to kind of give it more life. And then probably in the future when I make another game, I probably won't use as much peripherals, just because sometimes it's hard to think of a description. Like, I make fun of it all the time when I do Let's Plays, where you say, see a trash can, and then when you interact with it, it pops up, trash can. I mean, when I made this game the first time, I wanted to avoid that so hard, which is why the dialogue is a lot more narrative than it is than just a trash can. Because I always felt like if you're gonna just put a trash can, they should be able to figure that out from visually looking at it, right? So, just because the old Caster's Trap was very descriptive and narrative, I'm gonna do the same thing here, and then maybe in my next game, I probably won't. And rather than having to describe everything, I'll just be like, it looks like a trash can. It's a trash can. I don't gotta describe it. Anyway, I don't have a exact idea of what I'm going to do for this video. It kind of might be an all-rounder because I'm also going to work on some secret stuff. And I'm also going to work on some non-secret stuff. And right now, I actually got to work on a secret. So who knows? Maybe I won't pop back until tomorrow. Or the day after. Or the weekends. Anything's possible now. I did it! It's Wednesday, roughly the same time as yesterday. But I did it. I finished my secret cutscene. Or mostly did. There's still some tweaks here and there that I want to do. But right now, I'm kind of just tired. It's like when you're doing cutscenes and you're trying to tweak it to that, it takes a lot of repetition, and that can kind of be draining. But dogs, let me tell you, when you get it, and you get it good, it is, oh, so spicy. There's something about the lighting script plugin, community lighting plugin, that I notice that's a little bit buggy. And man, I gotta create a map just to show it to you guys, so you don't see the spoilers. It's actually not that bad. Yeah, I could do it. I could do it. Let me do it. You saw that, right? You saw that? It like does the lighting in the color that I chose it, and then it like twitches, and it goes to like a more like, visible color, white color. I don't really know how to explain it, but it goes, it like twitches. Basically what I'm doing. It just has like this weird twitch about it where it goes from the color I want to it clarifies itself by just a little bit. And maybe that has to do with the radius. And the only thing I can think of that can go around it is to start at the larger radius and then get bigger. But of course, I don't want that. Either that or change the color. But of course, I don't want that either. Maybe I will post on their forum again, see if they could say something about this. They're gonna be like, this kid again. I'm an adult. Part of me feels like they're gonna say, sorry, yeah, it kind of just does that. And then I'll be like, bummer. So of course, me being me, I was too scared to ask. But you know what? It's okay because I went with the larger radius to go into an even larger radius, and it actually looked decent. It was good. It was good. And at the end, when I rewatched the whole entire cutscene, unlike what I look like in this clip right here, it was actually beautiful, baby. It was beautiful. Dogs, I'm whispering because it's midnight, but I just finished a killer cutscene. I'm so proud of it, and I can't wait for you guys to actually see it. It's gonna be so dope. Unfortunately, it is a secret, so I can't just show you straight up right here, right now. But damn, I'm just like, I can't wait to see it, man. I can't wait to see it. Oh, it's so good. So good. Anyways, I have work tomorrow, so I should really sleep right now. Um, yeah. Good night, guys. Alexa, sleep, sleep. So for today, on this beautiful Saturday morning weekend, I would like to create a mechanic. So I want to make a bar, and I want the bar to move in and out and in and out, and there's just a small section where you have to hit the space bar in between to be successful. I guess that's like a quick time event, except it's yeah, I guess it's called a quick time event. So I like to make a quick time event with a bar, and I can't tell you why. That part is a secret, but I'm pretty sure that just building this in general is not really all that revealing in the story or where it is in particular. So I think that's totally fine. I know that you can make these bars with plugins or particularly JavaScript because of course there's HP bars and MP bars and all that. The problem with that is, of course, I don't know how to do that, but also I don't know where in the layer it exists because in the last video we learned that there's the rendering layer, which is the characters, the sprites, all of the tile sets, the balloon icon, that's the big one. And then there's a layer above that, which is the community lighting layer, which is the plugin I installed. And then above that one is the pictures layer. So if I do create this bar, I just have to make sure that it's above the community lighting plugin, but below the picture. Because of course we need to give the bar skins. So I'm like, maybe it's not worth it to spend the time to learn that in JavaScript. Because at some point I would like to learn JavaScript so I could do more. But I don't think I'll do that for this particular project. For now, I'm just going to create this bar completely out of pictures, very similarly to how I made my puzzle with the sequences and those symbols of the last video. And if you have not checked it out, then please do. I still can't figure out where it is. Alright, so I think we gotta go for this video. something that you guys can actually watch and enjoy. This devlog is not dead yet. That aside, I also have to go for a COVID test at 9:30. It's in 1 hour, so maybe I'll bring you guys along. COVID testing. So, on the week of Christmas, and I got a calendar up so it's easier to follow along. So on this day, a member of my family came home feeling a bit ill, except he started feeling a bit ill on this day. We made sure to take the precaution and quarantine him to the best that we can, and he got his test and he resulted in positive. Maybe it's convenient, I don't really know, but I did have this whole week off as vacation, and then sometime within this week, this is today by the way, we got the message from CDC that if you did not receive a fever, then all you need to do is take a 10-day quarantine, and the COVID should clear your system where you no longer become contagious. And because of that, you don't need to take a COVID test. So if he started feeling sick on this day, that means he'd be okay on this day, or at least no longer contagious on this day. So my girlfriend and I are a little bit more paranoid or cautious when it comes to COVID, and we decided that it'd be best that I tested myself just to make sure that I really did get negative. And so, it took a while, but I did schedule it for the 9th. And by the way, I do apologize in advance for not telling you guys during the Christmas vlog. It was, I wanted you guys to enjoy Christmas, and I wasn't feeling anything at that point, and I didn't want you guys to worry about it unless something did happen. I didn't want to jump to conclusions and be like, oh my god, day X of possibly having COVID, and then make you guys feel worried day by day. So that's why I decided not to say anything. I haven't been feeling sick at all. I should be in the clear, but this will, I guess, guarantee it in that sense. So we will see. I actually debated with myself for some time as to whether or not I wanted to create a QTE event or not. QTE being QuickTime event, by the way, for those who do not know. And the main reason for that is because this QTE is only going to be used pretty much once throughout the whole entire game. I didn't really plan for a QTE to occur again later in the game. It was kind of just in the moment for this one moment. And I guess the challenge here was that I questioned myself if it was even worth it. But I ultimately decided, yes, it was. You see, at some point in the game, the player will actually learn a new skill. I guess there's one way to put it, so that the story remains spoiler free. And I really wanted to emphasize the player learning or changing. So on one hand, I could have just used words, or maybe I could have drew a picture, but I wanted more interaction with my game. I really wanted to give this game life, and I really wanted the player to be as immersed as possible with the playable character. So that's what made me decide to make this. If anything, consider it a little thing, and how little things can actually speak more loudly than you think. It's ugly. Yep. Well, making HUDs is a professional all in itself. So here's the concept that I was going with. This will be randomly spawned wherever on the bar, and then the blue fill will shoot up, and the player has to press place right in time when it makes it in between that thing. Words, man. I decided that it will just be a one-way movement, so it will not backtrack. It will just shoot up, and then it will just, if you miss it, it'll start again, shoot up, and shoot up. This bar will only show up on this one map, so I feel like I don't have to break like my artist brain trying to figure this out, but at the same time, I would like it to look nicer. I mean, it's not terrible. It just looks very, very general, you know? Anyway, I gotta get ready for my COVID test. So, BRB. Okay, so I'm kind of just chilling and waiting for him to head out on my COVID test. But I was thinking about this, and I came to the realization of something. Because the way that this was going to work is that I was going to use the zoom feature on the x-axis to make it expand. But the problem with RPG Maker is that when it expands, it actually starts in the middle and stretches outward. So what that means is that in order for me to do this, it's going to make the math a lot more complicated, and I'll actually have to move the bar as it expands. And that sucks. So I might have to recreate this, or actually figure out the math, which is something I don't want to do. It'll take up too much time. Okay. Yep, that's correct. Bless me. Okay.
Part falls to the bottom. Link expires for you to sign up. It gives you a different.
It was as I feared. It was as I feared. Dang it. Dang it. So I made this before, except what I did was I made a shrinking circle instead of a bar that fills. And I low-key kind of remember that this was the reason why why I decided to go with that route. Because I didn't want to do the math. And I'm like, no. So I got two options. I could remake this so that it's a shrinking circle or a growing circle, or I could try and figure out the math for the bar. You understand how difficult that is? Because the rate of growth has to match the rate of forward motion. Forward motion. Alright, well. Let's pull out a calculator, I guess. Yo, dogs. I thought this was gonna be hard. I thought this was gonna be hard. But check this out. Hell yeah, it works, baby. It works. Heck yeah. As I was doing this, I realized that it's using the same time because it's all in that one property for move picture. And the only math I had to do was calculate for the amount of pixels that it just moves. And we know how wide the bar is because of the program I used that created it, Sprite. So it tells me right down there that it's 654 pixels long, but because it does this from the center, that means it only travels half of that distance, because half of it continues forward and the other half of it pushes back. So all we have to do is just add for half of it, and then we just had to fudge the numbers a little bit because we do have some cutoff here and here, aka the padding, and I just counted it manually and it's 8 pixels off on each side. And again, with that same math of how the expansion happens, so we don't add 16, we instead add 8. And again, with this move picture, it's the scale goes from 0 to 100%. It's all on the same timestamp of 20 frames, and all we had to do was just change this number here so that it looks smooth since it's on constant speed. And ta-da! That's awesome, man. Did you guys just love math? If you're a programmer, you really have to get good at math. Just because, remember, computer, it understands in 0 and 1s, and everything is just numbers to the computer, and it just translates that into words for us. So, us being us, we have to think on the same level of or as computers, so we can be just as good or better. Alright, baby, so now all I gotta do is just pat it over to the left a little bit, and then it will look smooth. Okay, so now it's 2 p.m. and I totally cooled down a bit. Had lunch too. And now, this is where we gotta do stuff. Now I gotta use some bits and pieces of math to figure out, because you know how there's the bar, this is the bar, and then there's the small sections in between. So all I really gotta do is just figure out how wide this thing is compared to the entire bar, and it's more so time-based than I think zoom-based. Yeah, it will be, because it's based on a measurement of time. So that's not so bad either. It's just figuring out how long it takes to fill this amount. So if it takes 2 frames, then and it takes 3 frames to get here, then anywhere from frame 3 to 5, if I press the space button, then I got it. And that was easier said than done, because I forgot about one thing and one thing exactly. It was converting the show picture and move picture event into script calls, because the event command sees the process as a whole step, one solid step of, let's assume, 25 frames to fill the bar. But now I'm actually moving the bar manually 1 frame at a time. In order to do that, I have to slide the bar the amount of pixels equivalent to 1 frame, as well as grow the bar equivalent to 1 frame. And to be honest, that's not hard, because there's simple math involved in that. But here's the part that took me a while to figure out. I was saving everything in variables built into RPG Maker. And I don't know if I was just doing it wrong, but for some reason, it just would not save decimals. It would always round it down. And I was kind of going crazy, and I was like, come on, my math is right. I'm doing it. I know what I'm doing. This is it, right? I was starting to get a little bit flustered, because earlier I was talking about how math is so important, you gotta be good at math, and then here I was messing it up. But it wasn't my fault. It was actually RPG Maker, because variables, or at least the way I was doing it, I don't really know, it just would not save decimals. It just rounded it down, and it took me a while until I decided to stop using math and start using incremental values, to like 6.9, 7, 7.1. And that's when I realized about the rounding. So when I figured that out, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna use whole numbers. So I instead increased the length of the bar so that it was a whole value divisible by a whole number of frames. An example, 500 pixels long over 25 frames, which equals 20, whereas 500 pixels divided by, let's say, 24 frames is 20.83333333333. Just a little bit salty there. Just a little bit. If anything, it was a nice learning lesson, so now that later on, when I have to do this stuff, I know. And that's what's important. Remembering and knowing for next time. Well, dang, that was embarrassing. Took a lot longer just to convert it to script from RPG Maker language. Well, granted, it's more like a hybrid because obviously we got some of it, and then we got the script here, but I think you guys know what I mean. So basically what I had to do was I had to actually upgrade it, or update it, I mean, one frame at a time, so that when the player does hit space, it will reset rather than having to wait for it to go all the way to the end before it resets, whether or not the player gets it right or misses it. And the reason why this took so long is because I did not realize, but variables, or through the system, cannot accept decimal numbers, which I think is weird. I was like, man, after all that hype and doing this right and then telling you guys about the importance of math, and then boom, I can't do it. But as it turns out, it's the system. It's not me, it's the system. So now that I got this converted, I can finally put the marker in its right position and use time to figure out whether or not the player is within those frames or not. But currently, I'm lazy. I just feel successful with having this finished for how long it took. So I'm gonna go on a break, and then I'll be back. Alright, I did it. I made the QuickTime event. And took a good amount of time, but I did it. Now all I gotta do is make it a little bit more fancier and then toss it into my little secret that you guys can't see. And then when you guys get to see it, oh, it'll be awesome. Still got a long way to go because I got the mechanic, and now I gotta convert the mechanic. Well, I gotta fancy the mechanic, and then I gotta convert the mechanic into my own thing, so that will take some time. Cool. Alright. We'll see when the next time I'm back. Maybe in the week, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. Anything's possible. So for Christmas, my friend bought me Nanoleaf and Skylight, which is crazy. I'm like, dude, you a mad lad. So this is actually really, really sick. If you don't know Nanoleaf, it's kind of like the Chinese tangrams, where you have these shapes and then you can make figures out of them, and then you could, well, use them as light sources. But what's awesome is that they are rhythmic. It's Rhythm Edition. And so it can actually respond to like my voice, to music, and pretty much all things that sound. And you can do some really fancy stuff with it. Except I don't exactly have a lot of space to put it. I mean, there is this slot here, but this is actually not a lot of slot. So I'm actually considering taking off these paintings and moving them elsewhere, which I guess would be just on another side of my wall. So unfortunately, you guys won't be able to see Godzilla anymore. Instead, you're gonna see fancy Nanoleaves. Dog, it's like ultra green mode, baby. I don't know if you guys can see it well. What up, dogs? That's awesome. As always, dogs, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then please hit the like button. And thank you, friend, for giving me these likes for Christmas. It is absolutely sick. I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, luck time.
Walking